Let's get your weekend going with Philippines Football League action this March 7, a Saturday, of course, at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. It is match number 86, and we've got this rivalry brewing and taking in another chapter. Don Bosco Garelli United and Valenzuela PB Minchola. Kyung Hyun Yo, who is going to captain Valenzuela PB for this game.
Step up, win their duels, win their area of the pitch, and contribute to a good performance. So that
black and orange. This one is off from himself on the counter. Off we go on the counter. Crawford took a touch, flag down, laid it to Okereke. There you go, first blood Garelli. Now they get the goal. Is he going to bring out his signature celebration? Not that it's expected. It's his branding, as we know. Let's watch and see.
Yeah. But you know, it's been a good goal. It was a very good goal from Okereke. Again, the question for this match was, can you take their chances? Because we know from Don Bosco that they do create chances. The question was, could they take them? And finally, for their sake, they're able to be clinical in front of goal and take the lead. It's something that's not happened too much this season. They'll be really happy that it has.
Diagonal ball. Sulit gifts it away. Crawford doesn't square it. And they double the lead here. It's a dream first half for Garelli.
Fantastic finish from Crawford. Punishes Reggie Sulit, who drops to the ground in frustration because it was a poor defensive touch. And fine margins in this match. If you make an error like that, you will get punished. But Crawford took that finish really well.
To score already for his previous team, Garelli. And Bacon lost his footing. Here's a touch. Almost the dagger here. When he was with One Taguig. It's with him now. Martins gets it. Katarinin. Also cutting inside. No angle. That was the case, but they end up connecting for number 3. They are putting this one beyond doubt. 2 goals, 2 dance numbers from Solomon Okereke.
Just as I was saying, it's been a tale of 2 strikers this afternoon. Okereke gets another goal. Right place, right time for Okereke. A little bit of fortune about it because it did just bounce to him. But he will take that, and Don Bosco will take that. And you can see the Mendiola players slump shoulders, but Don Bosco, they're going to get all 3 points in the 6-pointer.
With Reggie Sulit, he showed some promise actually on the attack, but it was quite tough defensively for him as it is another opportunity. And they bury it there. It was already the dagger earlier when Okereke made it 3-0, and Jerome Abarca claims a goal of his.
Great goal from Abarca, great finish, great counter-attack from Don Bosco. Abarca had so much time and space to think about where he was going to put the shot, and he puts it into the near post, beats the goalkeeper, who's been good this match, but he's not going to save that.
We have the full-time whistle right here. Garelli end their 8-game winless run, and they do it in style behind the efforts of Solomon Okereke. He got to find the back of the net twice. Also set up the goal of Jerome Abarca. It is your main event on this Saturday night of your Philippines Football League action. Will Army FC spring up an upset? We'll find out, of course. On the other hand, Maharlika looking to carry on that chase to make it to the top 6. They are currently outside and looking in, just 1 spot away. Number of times. And we will head over to Maharlika. And it's Dini Watara, as we mentioned.
Maharlika, they want to get into the top 6. Army, they want to get out of that bottom spot. So you need to start getting 3 points sooner rather than later. You need to... Absolutely.
One will kick off on the dot.
Yeah, absolutely. That absolutely amazing that we've got these types of conditions in March, which isn't usually what we see.
Front and almost got the job done. This one's loose at the back. It is off the mark. Some laces from the looks of it were also sorted out. It's Agariola to chase. Not in his usual up front. It's on the left here. Blasted it, but it is out. He had no angle.
Just know how to shoot and score against Maharlika.
This one in the goalkeeper area. And a collision between Soriano and Dini Watara. Kang Bumsuk gives a laser-like cross. Quality. The shot, and it is denied by Bedia. Sends this to safety. But that trooper continues to be down. This is not just Soriano who is down. We are mentioning this again because Soriano had issues also earlier with his leg. Things getting heated between Palacio and Kang. We saw some clear shoves. This is the second straight game of Maharlika where there is an altercation.
For those of you who missed that altercation, it's been all around action, and there's another elbow there from, well, elbow being complained by Maharlika, but the field. But that's not the full story. Here's the collision between Ariola and Menzi. It's an aerial collision, and Ariola just puts his arm up, and I think that's a little bit dangerous, especially if you're already on a yellow card.
Expect a yellow to Ariola, but he has a yellow already.
So this might be the game's first red card.
It is given to Mike Menzi though. And Agariola gets a second yellow. That is a red. 10v11 now. So that could continuously tire you out. They went for the back post. And it is a goal right there, confirmed. We were holding our breath there for a moment because that took a number of bounces inside the 6-yard box. And from our initial look, it's for Kalen McLeod, but we will confirm on the ground.
There you have it. Without Ariola, the physical presence there, it's a set piece. That's the undoing of Army. They don't have that height to deal with this initial crosses into the box. And I'm sure Maharlika don't want to see at the moment.
Here's the cross whipped in. And you did see.
Oh!
Para.
It's a penalty. Such a strange game.
Let's take a look again. So I was about to say that Kashiwabara was successful in getting the ball out.
He's not going towards goal. He doesn't have an aerial target in the box anymore. Ariola's off the pitch. There's no need to commit that foul. And there's a yellow card to Dini Watara this game.
And he gets his second yellow, and he is out of the game. To step off the pitch, and this can actually lead to sanctions. This plays the waiting game. Shoots and scores. 1-1 here. It was 11v10, and it's now 10v10.
Incredible how moments can change football matches. When Army go down to 10 men, and when they concede right after halftime, you would have thought Maharlika would have controlled the rest of this match, but it's a great penalty.
Our ad board taking a hit, but we eventually have the full-time whistle at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. Philippine Army holding Maharlika to a 1-1 draw. A 10v10 game. Maharlika led 1-0.
Title race is heating up, and this fixture will surely be a classic. The defending champions Kaya FC Iloilo takes on One Taguig FC in the hopes of positioning themselves well to keep their hands on the title. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rizal Memorial Stadium. My name is Jamer de la Cruz alongside Diego Cordero. And
3 points, and you take 3 points away from your direct rival. So
FC Iloilo, all eyes on Marcus Haber. And we have kickoff, ladies and gentlemen, in this Saturday main event between Kaya FC Iloilo and One Taguig FC. The Dice Quesato who wins the ball for One Taguig. Hiraishi with the cross. Header in. Haber inches away from the goal. Agyemang missing that pass. Freeing up Kaya up front right away, and a foul is called.
For that tournament and a lot more football action for Filipino fans.
Back to live action we go as Mike Ott with a cross. A header and well met by Milos Kupic, who raises his hands in jubilation. And Mike Ott with the delivery to the back post. That's going to be a corner for Kaya. I think this is the first one for Kaya FC. Moving forward as well for One Taguig. The team captain being covered by Eso. Cross, looking for Hartman with a first-time strike. Oh, saved by Dato. Haber pleading his case that it might have crossed the line, but Dato says no. On for One Taguig. Kiki looks up, sends the cross in. Haber chests it down. Nobody there to get that back heel pass.
Actually, the highest scoring in the whole PFL. They have 24 goals from their midfield. So could definitely do with one tonight.
Aerial battle for the ball here between Kaya and One Taguig. One Taguig emerges as the victor as Olibias free on the right side, looking for the cross. Dato steps, and it's a goal for One Taguig, but nope. Yes, it is. Referee confirms it. And One Taguig again on the first half, having that lead over Kaya.
Well, Patrick Dato is the last player you'd expect to make a mistake like that, but that all came from the fact that Oli Bias, the right wing back of One Taguig, was afforded acres of space down that right-hand side. Shuto Komaki is late to track him, and Odi Menzi is tucked inside narrow because of his tendency as a center back. So that just gave so much room for Oli Bias. The cross should have been claimed by Dato. It wasn't, and Agyemang reacts the fastest.
For Haber on the left side. Now with the cross, finding Bias, brings it to the middle. Hartman saved this time, but Mark Hartman in the middle of the field, being given plenty of space to take a shot, and that was well met by Patrick Dato. As Hiraishi looking for that opening. Omai saw with the cross, looking for Reichel on the far post.
They've been so dynamic, and it's been hard to defend for Kaya FC Iloilo. At the moment, Sato is winning that captain duel.
There goes down for Kaya. I think that's Yamazaki. They're asking for a foul here on Agyemang. He gets a yellow card. That is his second yellow card in the game. There's the corner. Almost getting into action. And the One Taguig crowd came alive. Ott unable to shoot. Menzi finding Lucas on the right. Sato with the clearance. Aldeguer with a cleanup.
Anywhere will do at the moment for One Taguig. It's all hands on deck.
Yamazaki sending a long ball forward. Malumanzogo chested down, made back with a strike, but not able to find the right side of his boots. Foul called, and Mark Hartman will juggle the ball out, and One Taguig FC makes it 2 wins to 2 against the defending champions, Kaya FC Iloilo.
Well, it's been a performance that has showed so many different layers to their game. One Taguig, they were able to dominate possession.
Stallion Laguna in their first round encounter. That is why we are bringing you their second one right here. Match number 88 in your Philippines Football League 2025-26 season. We are coming to you from the Rizal Memorial Stadium in Manila. Claro Manzano here alongside Jing Hamlang, and you're catching this one on our social media pages. Let's take a look at the starting 11 once more of Kaya FC Iloilo. The officials, led by referee Meliton Pelayo. And on the other side, as expected, it is also the 4-3-3 for Coach Ernie Nieras with Yusuf Butt.
That midfield battle going to be absolutely key for them as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how Usman Baji copes with this particular game.
Because Aguilas UMAC did seal a massive victory over to Loy FC. And it is a long ball quickly. Ricky Sendra. There's the Americas connection. It's almost a close one here, though.
He's also got the challenge of distribution, and look at this ball to Trujillo.
It is successful now to Juan. Tries to shake and bake against Casambre. Takes it with his right, and Tato tapped it over. The work rate from Vasquez. Double the trouble because there's also another Vasquez brother who is on the bench. Zambrano knocks this one. Flag stays down. Mirbach, the keeper to beat. Sends this one over the bar. Caliana Trujillo sends this. Headed to the center. Flag is raised from our assistant referee. Tough to tell.
I don't think so, but you could argue that there is. They did have their chances.
Melisa into the dangerous area. Patrick Ling. Oof, somehow it's a stop.
I know what the situation was for the goalkeeper as he made that save.
It's with Mirbach. Del Rosario the touch. And somehow Yuso Butt taps it wide.
Latched on with a bit more power. And you can see it's a bit of an even game.
In Asia.
At hindi pa rin tumitigil ang aksyon dito sa ating 2025-26 Philippines Football League season, and meron tayong napakagandang laban sa ating harapan. This is Philippine Army FC going up against Don Bosco Garelli United. My name is Jamer De La Cruz alongside my partner Diego Cordero right over here. Brother, this is an exciting match, both teams in their ascendancy. What can we make up of this fixture today?
Yeah, two teams that will be in a high mood, in a good mood because of their recent results. Both teams played last weekend and they both got good results. So Don Bosco, they got that 4-0 win over Mendiola and Army. They got that unexpected draw naman over Maharlika. So this is two teams that are in good mood. They're gonna try to build that momentum now going into the latter part of the second round of this season, and of course we still have a third round left to play. So this is a chance for both sides to build that momentum and to achieve whatever their aspirations are this season, whether that's being the top of the classification round or just getting to a double digits points tally. So there's a real chance for either side.
Double digits is almost within reach for Don Bosco Garelli United after their win against Valenzuela PB Mendiola during the weekends. They're now at 6 points with that 4-0 victory. Samantalang dito sa Philippine Army, though they're still dead last in the Philippines Football League classification right now, it's a welcoming sign for our armed forces. They have 2 points in their last two fixtures. More importantly, a shocking 1-1 draw against Maharlika FC, who you could see is just flirting along those championship round and classification round right now. What do you make up of that draw that they had against Maharlika?
Very good result for Philippine Army. It was an unexpected result because, again, they're playing against a team that are on paper much better than them and much higher than them. So it was a really valuable point. Also because of the fact that they went down to 10 men and they conceded first. So they got a really good point out of that game. Let's see, now that they're undefeated in 2 matches, if they can build on that and get another point or maybe even 3 points, because this is a favorable match as well for Philippine Army.
Well, they've shown their grit last time around against Maharlika FC, going 1-0 down in the 51st minute of the game, and then John Celis through the penalty spot, equalizing that game at the 66th minute. They can keep their heads held high against a Don Bosco Garelli side, but there's plenty of things to look out for in terms of Philippine Army. Back in the olden days, we don't see them having players coming in from outside the armed forces, but this time around they've welcomed few players in. They have the likes of Jomari Sapal in their starting lineups right now, or Jomari Sapal rather, who actually came from the program of Aguilas Yumac FC, but that's something that we're going to be looking into later on as we have the starting lineups out here. The usual suspects, you have Mark Anthony Badia in between the sticks, you have the team captain Giles Soriano, and then Sai Villaseñor, that tandem at the back line. Then you have Roy Kent Badia as well, and John Celis, the goal scorer of the last goal for Philippine Army. But there's one guy that we really want to look into, and that is Jomare Sapal.
Yeah, again, a signing from Aguila, so he's gonna add something else to this Army team that needed a boost in the first round of the season. So they've gotten that from that signing. Let's see what he can add because he has that experience in a top club, as you mentioned, Jamer. Galing siya sa Aguilas, so he has the training, he has that experience, he has the know-how from how a top club works. Let's see if he can pass that off to his teammates here sa Philippine Army. That's why we've marked him as today's player to watch.
And to add to that, Diego, other than Sapal coming in from the Aguilas side, he's also one of the key players on that squad as well. During their 24-25 season, naging key figure siya with the Davao Aguilas back then. And moving on to Philippine Army, let's see what he could actually do with their squad out here. And with that, we're going to listen in to Coach Ronel Hener of the Philippine Army FC.
Expectation po namin ngayon sa this coming game against Don Bosco Garelli is to win the game. Kailangan naming manalo kasi uhaw yung team na manalo. So we need to win this game. At saka yung team is okay naman sila. Will train naman sila at saka desidido talaga na ma-win this game.
Well, that was Coach Yok stepping in for Coach Ronel Hener for Philippine Army. Interesting that they really want to get this 3 points against Don Bosco Garelli, but why don't they? Because they're on their form, we could say. 2 points in their last 2 fixtures. That's something to show for in the Philippines Football League for Philippine Army. Now, let's take a look on the side of Don Bosco Garelli United. The only squad so far in the Philippines Football League to have scored 6 points in the bottom bracket, in the bottom 3. And in that game against Valenzuela PB Mendiola, they won 4-0 thanks to Solomon Ocareca's brace and goals from Samuel Crawford as well as Babacar Inday. Do you think that the adjustments made by Coach Mike Rigonalia has worked on for DB Garelli out here?
Yeah, well, that result over the weekend, that was a very needed result. They needed to get out of that rut that saw them in so many games winless and scoreless. But it wasn't actually a surprise because if you look at their performances against Aguilas, against One Taguig, against Manila Digger, you could just see signs that they were starting to improve. However, it's all good to say you're improving, but what really matters is getting points on the board. They finally did that last Saturday, and that's why they have a springboard now to build something for the rest of this second round and into the third round. Today is, again, like it was on Saturday, a chance for Don Bosco to get 3 points.
Well, Coach Mike Rigonalia have made some changes into the squad based on the previous fixtures that they've had. But one thing that we're going to look into is Solomon Okereke of DB Garelli United. He came from free agency after his stint with One Taguig FC, but after that game against Valenzuela PB Mendiola, scoring a brace for DB Garelli is something to look forward to in terms of the striking power that Coach Mike Rigonalia and DB Garelli has.
Yeah, very good performance. 2 goals, and it's been coming because he's been getting chances in his other games, been really involved in play. He'll be hoping that already being the top scorer of Don Bosco, the joint top scorer actually, he'll be hoping to build off that. And today is another real chance for him to bag more goals.
Well, if Philippine Army looks for that win against DB Garelli United, they're looking to string a couple of wins as well in the Philippines Football League out here. Let's listen in to Coach Mike Rigonalia.
So the team is looking forward for this game. Everyone is excited, even though we just played last week. So we keep on working hard during the training, and we're expecting to keep the momentum going and work our best so we can win more games and score more points and climb up on the table. So, thank you.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let us welcome the teams of Philippine Army Football Club and Don Bosco Garelli United.
Well, the officials are in the middle of the pitch. You have referee Jesus Abogado, who will be manning the whistle in the middle of the field. As Reli Balila and Brian Buergo. The fourth official is Raymart de los Santos, and then we have the match commissioner Robin Allen Kainglet for this first fixture of this Wednesday doubleheader between Philippine Army and Don Bosco Garelli United. Again, both teams in its ascendancy. Philippine Army with the usual suspects in your starting 11. You have Jessica Belgira as well, John Celis, Roy Kent Bedia, Johnny Toledo, Jomare Sapa, the new signing from Aguilas Humac FC, and then Nico Palacio.
Ladies and
We
gentlemen,
also have Mark Anthony in between the sticks. Before we continue, we'll have a
moment of silence in memory of Mr. James Pablo Ariola, the father of Philippine Army FC player Private Jimwell Ariola, who recently passed away.
Moment of silence given to the late father of Jumbo Ariola, player of Philippine Army FC. Our thoughts and prayers to the family of Ariola. Now we look into the side of Don Bosco Garelli. We've had plenty of players to look into in terms of DB Garelli United. You have Jerome Abarca, fresh from his stint in the UAAP. You have Samuel Crawford, who's been the player amongst the mouth of the PFL fans on our live stream. Then you also have Solomon Okereke, who scored 2 goals in his last fixture against Valenzuela PB Mendiola.
Yeah, both sides, again, because they played last weekend, slightly rotated lineup and slightly rotated bench, but the usual suspects are for both teams. They're all on the field. I'll be interested to see how intense the first 5 minutes are, because of the fact that both of these teams will see this game as winnable, but again, they played last Saturday. Very short turnaround for a football team to play on the Saturday, then the Wednesday. So I'm interested to see how much energy will be either put out or conserved by both teams.
Well, 3 points up for grabs between Philippine Army FC and Don Bosco Garelli United. Kickoff is upon us. DB Garelli sporting their their orange and black kits. The Philippine Army with their white and green kits. Jesus Abogado calls us in, and we have kickoff. DB Garelli United playing from right to left. Army FC looking to go for the attack from left to right. First 5 minutes is going to be very interesting between these two sides. It's going to be an all-out battle out here. You have Romel Catarina down the left flank for DB Garelli. Good pass from Solomon Okereke, freeing up Catarinin with the cross. Unable to get it into one of his teammates, but they win themselves a corner.
Good first involvement from Catarinin and Okereke. You can just see a little bit more confidence about this Don Bosco side because of the fact that they got 4 goals and the win and the clean sheet against Mendiola. Good start here. First chance to use their height advantage again. No Ariola for Army, so they lose that aerial presence, both going forward and defending. Let's see if Don Bosco can take advantage of this.
Michael Brabi to take this corner for DB Garelli. First minute, first corner for DB Garelli United. Delivery inside, headed away by team captain Soriano. Pass. Moving forward now is Philippine Army with Joshua Gatingao on the right side. Michael Sims with a great tackle, but almost dispossessed by the number 38, Johnny Toledo. It goes back to the side of DB Garelli.
First minute and a half, but we already see the blueprint from both sides. So it's going to be Don Bosco who want to dominate possession, who want to build up slower than their opponents. And then Philippine Army naman on the other hand, they're going to be the team that sits off the ball and tries to counterattack after opportunities that Don Bosco create.
At ito yung madalas nating makita amongst the bottom 3 sides that we have. They're very aggressive in the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the game. And when they face the squads in the championship table or the upper half of the standings, parang dun nauubusan ng gasolina yung mga teams natin like DB Garelli, Philippine Army, and Valenzuela PB Mendiola. But things might be different when we look into this matchup as Don Bosco Garelli going for that counter from that right side. Good defense shown by the number 38 Toledo. But they concede another corner for DB Garelli.
Yeah, this time it was Abarca and Kavit Bacon combining down the right-hand side to create that cross. That's UE and FEU combining right there in the PFL. Again, good first involvement for that right-hand side. And they get another corner, so good early pressure from Don Bosco, but they have to be careful of the counter-attack because that's what we saw also in the last set play.
So Robbie once again to take this corner for DB Garelli. Second in the match. Okereke almost flicking that in, but couldn't get a touch, so that's going to be a goal kick for Philippine Army.
Okereke, obviously a target for corners, a physical presence up top. He is helped by the fact that over the past few weeks, Don Bosco just made that switch in formation. So from playing with one striker, now they're playing with two. And it just allows Okereke to receive a little bit more help around him. It's Crawford who's joining him. It's an old school strike partnership. You have a target man, then one sort of player who's going to ghost in and around the target man. And it's worked in the last game. It's going to be interesting to see if they try and make it work this game. But Okereke has already been involved.
Well, good adjustment so far for DB Garelli United in their squad and their formation. Solomon Okereke attracting most of the pressure right now from Philippine Army FC. You also have Samuel Crawford. Gaya nga ng sabi natin, siya yung madalas pag-usapan ng mga viewers natin sa ating Philippines Football League YouTube channel. And it shows for because Crawford right then and there having a shot on target with the header. Though it's going to be an easy save for Bedia, but still a shot on target for DB Garelli.
Crawford also had a good performance against Mendiola. He'll want to build off that performance. Good save though and good hands early on from Mark Anthony Bedia of Philippine Army, their goalkeeper, who by the way got man of the match against Maharlika because of the countless saves that he made to keep that score at 1-1. And he's been given the trust to start again because Army have switched their goalkeepers a number of times this season, but it's 2 straight starts now for Mark Anthony Bedia.
Well, things are looking on the way up for Bedia out here as DB Garelli unable to string a couple of passes. Philippine Army on the counter-attack though. They go on the left side. Pass to the middle, but that has been thwarted by Traore. Great intentions though from Philippine Army.
Yeah, promising moment there, winning back possession high up the pitch. They're going to need to adjust a little bit though because again, there's no Ariola on the pitch. So they don't have that target man up front. It's going to be Joshua Gate now who's going to try to fill in that role. It's interesting to see if he can adjust to the demands of the game. Different type of striker to Ariola, not as tall, but maybe has a little bit more pace about him. So it's going to allow Army just to have a different profile up front.
Let's see if it's going to work out for Philippine Army as they're being pressured right now by DB Garelli. Abarca brings it down to his teammate. Easy does it as they switch things from right to left. Michael Sims with the ball now for DB Garelli. Looking for that pass for Okereke, but it's been telegraphed by Philippine Army. It's going to be a foul called on the number 31, Roy Kent Bedia, after the challenge on Michael Brobby.
Yeah, late tackle there from Roy Kent Bedia. And by the way, some of these players got a lot of yellow cards already this season. A lot of those came in the last game. And as we're aware, these accumulate across the season. So you're going to want to avoid fouls. Also, other than the fact that you're going to concede set-piece opportunities to a team that is slightly taller than you because you have that lack of aerial targets. However, they do win back the ball here.
Philippine Army now with possession. Bedia being pressured, but was able to get the ball away. Palacios spreading it out wide to the left side. Philippine Army with a chance. There's been a touch from Kevin Bacon. It's going to be a throw in for Philippine Army. Now on the ball, John Celis. Small but terrible midfielder for Philippine Army. Good switch of play for Belgira on the right side. Being pressured on, Okereke wins the ball for DB Garelli United. Looking for his teammates but says calm down as he brings it back to Traore.
Another good involvement though from Okereke. You can see he really wants to take control of this game. Again, perhaps not given the minutes that he wanted in One Taguig, but he's going to be the starting number 9 now for Don Bosco. And they have that faith in him. It's up to him now to repay the faith like he did against Mendiola. But you can see he's up for this afternoon. He doesn't look tired, even though he played the full game last Saturday.
Well, maybe we can say that Okereke has been thirsty for those minutes. After not getting much of the stint with One Taguig FC in his last time with them, now that he's getting full minutes with DB Garelli United, he's making the most out of it. Unfortunately, Abarca has been called for offside in that attacking phase for DB Garelli United, so they'll have to restart. Good first 7 minutes so far for Philippine Army. They're not just sitting back in defense, they're also moving forward in attack. Medea sends the ball forward, looking for the number 55, Sapal, but unable to get a touch to it. Team captain Mahinay being pressured by the new signing, Sapal, who gets the ball from Bakot.
Yeah, great work from Sapal there to apply pressure, and he's gotten his team up the pitch. Here they are now.
Good movement on the left side, just unable to find the opening for Sapal. Now it's time for DB Garelli United to go for that counter. Robbie looking up, but Crawford's not in position, so they have to reset with Bacon. Long ball forward, now looking for Crawford up front. Soriano gets the ball, and a foul is committed by Crawford on the team captain, Jalsor Soriano.
Good early involvements nonetheless for Crawford and Okereke. You can see whenever their midfielders have the ball, they're just running and sprinting in behind that Army backline, who have defended well so far, but one of their common trends this season was that they couldn't defend with balls in behind, passes in behind into the space, and that's clear what Okereke and Crawford are trying.
Speaking of passes, Philippine Army FC stringing a couple of passes on the left side, but unable to find a teammate up front. Goes straight to the goalkeeper, Reynold Riaso. Now DB Garelli United looking to restart, taking things low and hoping for that golden opportunity. Okereke is finding his position up front, but he's not been seen by Mahinay.
It's actually interesting that Reynold Riaso has been given the start. Ishii got man of the match against Mendiola, but it's been a goalkeeper rotation for this afternoon. And not only that, you know, the goalkeeping pool of Don Bosco is quite deep. So they have Ishii, who got man of the match, as I said, last game. Then you also have Mochamrad from Stallion early on in the season. But it's another goalkeeper being given the start today. So it's not usually that you see 3 different goalkeepers play for one team, but a chance, I guess, nonetheless, for them to build and stake that claim for the #1 position.
And the rotation is very important in this hot, sweltering weather that we have at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. We might expect a couple of cooling breaks later on. Nakita natin yung panahon, it's about 32, 33 degrees Celsius, so medyo mainit. And we're going to be looking into how that's going to play in effect for both teams. Philippine Army have themselves a free kick. Belgira on the right side, finding Celis, who will operate and go past Brobby. One player taken out. 2 players taken out now. Celis still running down the right side, looking for that cross. Riaso gets the ball from the attackers.
Well, Celis picked up the ball in the halfway line and he found himself in a crossing position. What a piece of dribbling that was. Again, he got the goal last week against Maharlika. Played really well also. And it's a really good cross that just puts it into a dangerous area. Good save nonetheless, though, from Riaso. But Celis looks like he's also up for this. Like Okereke was, he's also up for this, the player who scored last week. And I'm just interested to see if he'll be given more license to go forward, because he can bring out stuff like that.
Well, as we wait for getting out to get back up to his feet, that was, I can call it a vintage John Celis in his playing days with Green Archers United back in the days. Yan na yung role niya before. Get the ball from midfield and then run towards the right flank. And we're seeing the vintage John Celis that we have out here.
Yeah, and he did a lot of that against Maharlika, dragging his team up the pitch against a better side. He's going to have another opportunity to do just that this afternoon. That looks like offside once again. But just as we're talking about John Celis, again, what a player he has been for his career. And he's still here and he's still going strong. So very impressive and kudos to him.
Solomon Okereke caught by the offside flag in that last play. Good idea from Michael Sims to send the long ball forward, but just unable to time it well for Okereke.
Yeah, if Okereke times his run better though, I think he'll fancy himself in a foot race against the 2 center backs of Philippine Army, because he has that athleticism and that build to get him into those types of scenarios and use his strengths, which he is doing it again here.
Crawford finding Okereke, now to the middle for Robbie, who's shaping up. Takes a shot, that goes over the bar. But you could already feel it that he wants to take that shot. It's just that it's not on target, so they have to wait for the next opportunity to come.
Well, for a defense that's going to sit deep, no surprise if we see more shots from range from Philippine Army. One way to break down a very, very stubborn defense. For Don Bosco, beg your pardon, but again, good pressure from the team in orange shirts at the moment.
Crawford finding a Barca on the right side. Couldn't get past Soriano, goes down. Play continues as Soriano got him clean. Counterattack mounting for Philippine Army. Good passing here on the left side. Gatingao switches the play for Sai Villaseñor, or rather that was number 11. Yep, that was Sai Villaseñor. Long ball forward now for Philippine Army. Poor touch from the number 55 Sapal. Counter-attack time for DB Garelli United. Bedia was able to clear that danger out, but only as far as Aguie. And they now restart with Traore. Robbie finding Okereke. Good pass towards Abarca. He gets to it. Now 1-on-1 against De Guzman. De Guzman win that duel and gets a foul as well after the challenge from Abarca.
14 minutes in now. Neither side really able to create a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity. And these are two teams that have been criticized for that this season. So before this game started, Army have scored 9 goals this season, and Don Bosco have scored 8 goals this season, with 4 of those coming against Mendiola. So goal scoring has always been the problems of these two teams this season. Let's see if they can sort of ramp up their attacks, because so far it's been a little bit scrappy. It's been a little bit stop-start and chaotic, but it is still early on.
Goal scoring has been kind of a mystery thing for DB Garelli. They have 6 points in the bag, but they only scored 8 in the entire competition, whereas Philippine Army has 9 goals, but with only 2 points. So sobrang contradicting, but at the same time, sobrang interesting din naman between Philippine Army and DB Garelli.
Yeah, the incentive is there though, because for both teams, if they get a win today, they either close the gap on the team above them or leapfrog the team above them, which is a really, really good thing to have this point in the season, so that you can start building more momentum into the crucial point.
Chance there for Nico Palacio, but unable to convert from close range. Talking about the implications, if they get 3 points in this game, right now DB Garelli with 6, they will close the gap if they win this game against Philippine Army. They will close that gap against Tuloy, who has 10 points. Right now they'll have to be worried because Philippine Army looking to string a couple of passes in order to move forward. Almost losing the ball there. Celis gets back up, finds the pass. Unable to connect though with Gatinao in that sequence.
Yeah, it looks like Celis is going to be the player to start attacks and also try to get on the finish of those attacks, because he is a player that does have that quality and technical ability, despite his modest height, you know, to really be the heart and center of his team.
Good pass forward for Abarca, who's on the clear on the right side. Goes down once again, looking for the foul, but nothing's been given. Challenge came in from Mark De Guzman, so play continues for Philippine Army.
Abarca, that's now a couple times he's penetrated that back line with runs in behind. Again, Philippine Army's weakness at times is dealing with passes over their defense.
Good interception for DB Garelli. Katarinian frees up Crawford in the middle, who now sends a looping ball for Okereke. Couldn't take a shot first time. And good clearance as well from Sai Villaseñor for a corner.
Good defending from Villaseñor, but you know, if Okereke takes a better touch here, he can probably release an effort on goal, and it's in a good position as well. Here's the replay. Or no replay just yet, but again, Okereke, promising signs early on. A lot of chances, half chances coming his way. I'm sure a lot more will also come on his plate. And you can see he would probably be the target for this cross.
So Robbie once again shaping up for this corner. You have Okereke covering Medea. Unable to go for that bicycle kick. Katarinin with a shot. High and out for the number 13.
Philippine Army survive another set piece. Again, no Ariola to help them out in defending and attacking these scenarios. But they've passed the test of all the set pieces so far. However, it's still early on. Don Bosco, I'm sure they will have identified the set pieces as one of their best avenues forward to getting goals. You have your targets, Okereke, the center backs. You can join them as well for those corners.
Coming into the 18th minute of the match, and we're still at a 0-0 between Philippine Army and Don Bosco Garelli. Michael Sims with the ball, good first touch. Now sending the ball forward, but miscommunication between Sims and Okereke, so that's rolling back to Bedia. Now Sai Villaseñor looking to restart for Philippine Army. Roy Kent sends it back to Mark Anthony Bedia. Sai Villaseñor once again. Long ball forward is the option. Looking for the number 55, Sapal. But Traore is there to cover and using that body well to keep that out for a goal kick.
Army not afraid also to try and go long because that was also probably their best avenue going forward. Here was the chance for Okereke. Again, couldn't really get it under his control because he was in a dangerous position. And he will probably get more chances because if you look at where Army's backline is at the moment, they're stationed nearly at the halfway line. So there's a lot of space for the Don Bosco front line to run into. You look at the likes of Okereke, Abarca, Crawford. If they time their runs right, they will have a lot of space and probably be in on a one-on-one against the goalkeeper.
Good attempt as well from Katarinin, who's now running down the left side, but tackled well. Clean as a whistle from Jesse Belgira. That will go out for, I believe that's a corner that's been called. Although Katarinin is being checked by Jesus Abogado. Nothing too serious to worry about. So DB Garelli will have themselves another corner.
A great tackle from Jesse Belgira because if he gets that wrong, you would be surprised if a color of the card was actually red because it was nearly through on goal for Katarinin. But again, another corner. They're ramping up now these set pieces, Don Bosco. They have to take advantage of them sooner rather than later.
Commotion inside the box as these players, you have Abarca, you have Okereke on the far post. You have Crawford on the near post. Here's the delivery from Robbie. Looking down the far post. Okereke covering Sai Villaseñor, who looks up and trying to send the ball forward for the number 24, Gatinao. Unable to get to it on time, but they have themselves a throw in.
Army really trying to penetrate on that counter-attack. It's probably been drilled into them that that's where they're going to get at Don Bosco. When Don Bosco go up and send bodies forward, they will leave space in behind for the likes of Celis runs into. And, it's a good game plan as well because it did work against Maharlika. And there's no reason in changing it if it worked against Maharlika last Sunday.
Chance for the number 38, Toledo, but straight to Reyaso. Like the usual games that we're seeing from them. They're fearless right now moving forward.
Yeah, there's a step of confidence raised about them. Again, at this point in the first round, in so many of their games, they were already down by 1 or 2 or even 3 at this point. So it's a step above and it's an improvement from the Troopers that you have to give them credit for because there was a point in the season where they were just doing loss after loss after loss. They've stepped up now. The signings in the January transfer window have helped. And yeah, they can finally ramp up a charge to at least not be at the bottom of the league table anymore.
That's one thing that we're really happy to see in the Philippines Football League. Sabi nila, kadalasan yung mga troopers natin or wala na magbabago sa ating bottom half. But you can see things are really different now with Don Bosco Garelli and Philippine Army, showing courage in moving forward and leaving their defenders as well. Right now, Soriano couldn't wriggle his way past Crawford, who is quite disappointed in not being able to win themselves a throw-in. So that's going to be a throw-in for the white shirts. Celis moves that over for Bedia. Long ball forward. Great coverage by Bacon. Now a through ball intercepted by Soriano. Bacon sending that forward for Abarca, but overcooked it. So Mark Anthony Bedia gets the ball and will reset for the Troopers.
Attacks from Don Bosco, a little bit misguided. They don't have that clinical edge just yet. Still early on, of course, in this game. They'll be hoping to find a similar clinical nature that they had against Mendiola. But Army are giving this a good go, and they have caused one or two questions for this Don Bosco team so far.
Feels like we're seeing Philippine Army coming out of their shells right now. Most of the time we see them staying at the back, but now they can find themselves on the attack, just like that time with Toledo, but just unable to convert. There goes down for DB Garelli, and that's a foul called on Toledo.
Yeah, late challenge there from Toledo, probably just straight out of being frustrated that an attack couldn't be made for him. Again, though, Army are doing well just to keep Don Bosco at a state where they're not creating attack after attack like they did in their last game. Because Don Bosco, when they do get in that flow state, they did look good against Mendiola. So Army have to do well to make this game a little bit scrappy, make it stop-start, and they have done so far.
Sai Villaseñor with another coverage on Okereke. Celis will get the ball. Moving forward now is the number 24, Gatinao. Pass forward. Chance here for Philippine Army. Palacio thought about it. Brings it down to Toledo. Still Palacio thinking about it. And I think I've heard Coach Jenner from the stands asking him to take that shot. But a counterattack for DB Garelli. Looks like Bacon with a pass to Okereke to open the scoring for DB Garelli United against Philippine Army.
Well, the goal-scoring run for Okereke continues, and the dances and the moves continue as well. 2 goals in his last game, and he gets another this afternoon. But that was great work from Bacon down the right-hand side as a right back, timing his run to perfection. And I mentioned earlier, Philippine Army, they struggle with runs in behind and passes played in behind. And once Don Bosco are there, Okereke is not going to turn down that chance to score. But excellent work from Bacon.
Good work on the counterattack from Kevin Bacon. And Solomon Okereke adds another goal to his tally. A player unlocked for DB Garelli United since coming on to their side. And you could really feel na uhaw sa playing time itong si Okereke. And we can see that he was able to score another goal for Don Bosco Garelli United.
He's having a resurgence in the PFL. Again, with One Taguig before, now with Don Bosco, he looks like he'll be their starting striker for all their games. And he's repaid the faith once again. Army will be so frustrated at that because it actually came from their own attack. Just 30 seconds before that goal, they had that play in the opposite penalty box, but they lost the ball, and when they committed bodies forward, they were unable to get back and close the spaces. And Okereke really had an open goal to aim at.
Now it's going to be a question of momentum shifting to the side of Don Bosco Garelli after getting that goal from Okereke. Can Philippine Army answer with an equalizer?
By the way, that goal now puts Okereke as the outright top scorer of his team this season with 3 goals. He was tied with Johan Embida, who left early on in the season but was at 2 goals already. Now Okereke is their top scorer.
We're looking for more. Crawford almost getting into it But Sapal now looking for that counterattack for Philippine Army. Palacio takes it back. They will reset all the way from the back for Philippine Army. Palacio once again on the ball, looking up and thinking about the pass, but only opts to take it back as well. Good pressure being put on as well by DB Garelli, not allowing those passes to move forward for the troopers. They're forced to switch the play to the right side. Senor thought about the pass forward. Now they move on with the number 24, Gatinao, dispossessed. Robber leaves that for Okereke, and foul committed by Jalsar Soriano. And this is the usual Philippine Army that we've seen in the olden days, and we're moving forward in the modern era of football as a yellow card's been given to Jalsar.
Yeah, clear yellow card, not only because of the high foot, but of the reaction afterward. But look at the strength from Okereke to hold off a defender on his back. This is clear foul, and he stayed standing. Such a physical presence up top for Don Bosco. And he wants more goals this afternoon. You can see he really wants chances to fall his way. And with his confidence at the moment, you wouldn't put it past him to take more chances later on in this match.
Don Bosco Garelli with the 1-0 advantage right now. Yellow card for Jalsar Soriano on the retaliation on the Okereke. Nakulangan si Jalsar dun eh. Hindi niya napatumba eh. Back on, moving forward for Don Bosco. On the right side, good pass from Crawford, but covered well by Villaseñor. Another corner for Don Bosco Garelli.
Well, that right-hand side of Don Bosco is combining really well. Back on Abarca, and this time Crawford drifting out wide from his striker position. They're creating good opportunities now with those good rotations, and they're trying to find Okereke. You can see he's their end point. He's the tip of the spear that you want chances to go to. And they found a system now that is starting to click at the right time in the season. With a win today, they would really close the gap at Tuloy, who will, from out of nowhere, start to be looking over their shoulders.
If they get full 3 points, they'll just be a point away from Tuloy. Corner here for Don Bosco. Header in, unable to connect for Mahinay. Good interception from Katarin on the left side with the cross, short one. Bedia gets to it, and the Philippine Army FC look to restart and mount an attack.
Katarinin looked back to his teammates as if to say, why was no one there on the end of the cross? I think they were just surprised that he actually recovered that ball, but good work from him nonetheless. Both flanks of Don Bosco are working really well so far and creating a lot of chances.
Soriano takes it back to Bedia. A little bit of a contact between Crawford and Soriano. Long ball forward now for Philippine Army. Still not working though, as Don Bosco taking the ball away. Okereke, looks like the flag is up, and Jesus Abogado recognizes that he was offside on that play.
Risky for Philippine Army to have such a high line. It works out there. Can you keep up that concentration now for the whole 90 minutes? It already got bypassed once for the goal. Risky, but high reward if it works out.
Crunching tackle from the number 16, Michael Broby. You could feel John Celis felt that reverberating through that shin guard of his.
Actually, Jamer, parang narinig natin yun eh. We could hear the splash of that challenge. Very late one. Clear foul. I'm curious to see if there's any card, but it looks like there's gonna be no card, but it was a very physical tackle.
Shin to shin action between Celis and Brober. Physio is in to check on Celis. If you're Philippine Army, you're going to be concerned seeing Celis down on the ground right now. Has been working things out for your side. And with 1-0 down and chasing this equalizer, it's important that you see him jogging back into the field later on.
Thing is as well for Celis, that's your player who takes set pieces as well, or penalties, free kicks. And he's been giving Philippine Army some possession in good areas as well. It looks like he will be okay though. So that's promising if you're Philippine Army. They're going to be down to 10 for a moment. They'll have to be careful not to concede a counter-attack actually.
Sobrang lakas ng Celis. Tumayo, tapos sabi sa medic, okay na ako, boss. Free kick cleared away by Don Bosco. Okereke winning the ball from De Guzman. Long ball forward for Katarinin on the left side, or Crawford rather. Crawford with the pass. Katarinin couldn't get it to the middle as Soriano's there to cover for Philippine Army. Celis is back in action. Philippine Army looking for that counter. Celis with the ball, pass to the middle. Good movement right now for Gatinao and the Troopers. Celis chipping that over Aguie. Still running. Play continues. Long ball forward for Philippine Army. Gatinao takes it back. Back to Gatinao they go, and it's out for a throw-in.
Where did that come from, Celis? You can just see he's such a clever player. In a tight space, he can still find ways out of that tight space. Again, that's because he has that low center of gravity, really, that can get him out of those pockets. If Philippine Army gets something from this game, Celis will be a big part of that, I'm sure.
Philippine Army once again on the right side. Bedia takes it back to Villaseñor, who looks forward. Reaso gathers the ball for Don Bosco. Looking up and mounting that counter-attack, but number 31, Bedia, was there to cover. Celis still with the ball. Nimble touches from the number 28. Onto the right side they go for Toledo. Back to the middle for Celis, unable to get that cross in. Okereke now building this counter-attack for Gibi Garelli, or Don Bosco rather.
What a pass.
Good pass to Crawford. Crawford thinking about the shot, blocked. Now, Philippine Army once again with possession. Palacio dropping back in midfield. Gatinao to Sapal on the left side. Soriano. Good movement here for Philippine Army. Patience is a virtue for them. If they can find the opening up front, they will take it back and pass the ball around.
Game just speeding up now, getting slightly stretched. No surprise that Philippine Army are slowing it down a little bit, because the last thing you want is for the game to be end-to-end, non-stop, having already played last weekend, so you might get a little bit gassed. But yeah, good response from Philippine Army. They haven't dropped into their shell, which is what they would have done early on in the season. They would have conceded that first and dropped in confidence, conceded a second and third, and it wouldn't have stopped, but they've reacted better than they have in the first round.
That's a massive improvement for Philippine Army. And siguro momentum builder din yung draw nila against Maharlika FC. If I can take points away from the 6th place team in the Philippines Football League, I can do better against Don Bosco Garelli. That's the idea right now for Philippine Army.
And the reason why that was such a confidence boost as well was they could have won that game actually. They had the chances to. They had the opportunities to seal the deal. They couldn't in the end, but nonetheless, it's a really good point against Maharlika. And their run of games also is... There come a point also in this season where they have a favorable run of games. Their next game, though, is against Aguilas, but when they do play those pointers against similar placed teams, that's their chance really to build momentum.
Referee calls for stoppage as ball goes out in favor of Don Bosco. Michael Sims with the throw in for Okereke. Brings it back to Sims, who looks up, trying to find the pass to the middle, but unable to do so. Counter-attack. Celis starts the play for Philippine Army. Trying for that long shot. Quite ambitious, but on target. Riaso lives up to it.
Well, we've seen weirder things in Rizal Memorial Football Stadium. You've seen, I believe, when Paulo Bugas scored that long shot. It happens in football. So we might as well try it from time to time.
Oh, interception here. Crawford unable to pass the ball for Okereke. They win themselves a corner. Even Okereke has been frustrated about that.
Well, Chelsea Soriano was playing with fire there, surrounded by coaching staff asking him why he didn't just boot it up the pitch, because he could have given away another goal-scoring chance. He's lucky that it's only a corner kick. However, they still have to deal with this corner kick if Don Bosco score from this corner kick. Sir Jalsor Soriano, who's the captain, by the way, will not be happy.
Soriano, of course, no stranger to the Philippines Football League, had stints with KFC Iloilo in the past, together with Sai Villaseñor. Now they're together here with Philippine Army. Counter-attack, unable to complete for Gatinao. Soriaso restarts the play for Don Bosco. Just about 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Garelli with that advantage. And you could feel that they want to move forward. It's just that they're taking their dear time with the ball.
Well, just as you were saying that Coach Mike Daniel Riconalia was screaming at his team to get up the pitch, he's still doing it now actually. He's telling his team to get higher up. He's telling specific players actually that they're way too deep, and it's allowing Army just to get out of their shell.
Katarinin gets the ball. Okereke asking for a foul, and it's been given against the number 26, Jessica Belgira. But yeah, Coach Mike Riconalia really wants them to move forward. They feel that the second goal is coming for them. And more importantly, if they get that within the last 5 minutes of play, it would be a momentum boost for them heading into halftime.
Yeah, it would be a perfect time to score. And just confirming, Coach Mike Daniel Riconalia was exchanging words with Ebenezer Age, who, by the way, just found out is only 19 years old and starting in midfield in the PFL. No Yamaguchi today for Don Bosco. He's been given the rest, I presume, even though he played really well against Mendiola. So you can see a little bit more depth from isn't what we usually associate with the team in the bottom half of the PFL. So it's nice to see that the league pool is growing at least.
There's the delivery from Robert. Brings it down for Katarinin. The foul is called against Don Bosco. A bit of confusion there, but Philippine Army wins a free kick.
Don Bosco working out for them in the past few games. You can just see that it's a system that out of nowhere they found familiar, and they found their state where they can be a little bit more expressive, send more bodies forward. So it's no wonder that there's been an uptake as well in performance.
Philippine Army now looking to move forward through this throw-in with about 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Intercepted once again by Don Bosco. Momentarily. Chance here on the right side for Belgira to move forward, and he will. Getting past two players, but good coverage from Traore. And this is one of the shake-ups later on, as a substitution is coming up for Don Bosco. I think that's going to be Martins Melgaco coming in.
Interesting thing about that as well is you're going to burn a sub window within 5 minutes from halftime. So I wonder if it's injury related or tactically related, but it seems urgent because they're going to do it now.
Philippine Army once again on the right side gets themselves their first corner of the match. But before they do so, a substitution is on deck for Don Bosco. You have Aguie checking out for Melgaco. So it seems like it's a bit of concern for Ebenezer Aguie, who has been talking to Coach Mike earlier on, like what you pointed out.
Substitution
Very clearly, Coach Mike of Don Bosco is not happy with something because Aguie is walking off. He looks fine. I don't think this is injury related. Perhaps it's something tactical, and definitely something urgent because of the fact that it's already been made in the first half.
That wasn't a corner for Philippine Army, but it was overturned and was given a goal kick. On the other side, Okereke able to get past the offside flag. Tensions on the bench of Don Bosco as Coach Mike and Aguie might be in a difference of opinion out there from that substitution. Focusing back on the action on the pitch. Philippine Army looking to move forward, but Sims had other ideas. Katarinin still with the ball. The nearer option was Okereke. Just not sure why he opted to go onto the right.
Okereke was asking for that pass. He was clear through on goal if the pass was timed correctly. Here's Army though.
Pass on the right. Toledo against two players in orange. Palacio now. Celis. And a handball is going to be called on Toledo.
That's a shame because they were building up an attack there. Looks like halftime is coming shortly. Heard from our walkie-talkie there'll be 2 minutes, but I think Army will still feel that they're in this game. Slim lead for Don Bosco, so nothing about this game is conclusive just yet.
Chance here for Abarca on the right side. Cross for Okereke once again and gets the brace against Philippine Army.
Well, it was almost a carbon copy and paste for Don Bosco. Once again, down the right-hand side, crossed, low cross into the penalty box, and Okereke taps it in to an open goal. If it works, don't change it up. And for the second time this afternoon, Don Bosco has gotten a goal with exactly the same formula. So clearly, it's something from the training ground. And you can see the celebrations. They're absolutely happy. Ideal time to score at the same time.
Almost the same play in the first goal in the 19th. And Okereke gets his brace. Now the top scorer for Don Bosco Garelli with, I think that's now up to 4 goals in the Philippines Football League for the number 19.
In the bottom part of the league, if you can at least have a striker that can guarantee goals, because if you're not going to win matches, at least you can win matches every here and then with goals. That's definitely what he brings. Again, we'll feel that he should have gotten more minutes at One Taguig. He didn't, but he's proving his worth now, and you know it is hard not to be happy for him.
Palacio on the other side though for Philippine Army. A chance, Riaso almost got a touch to it, but Sims will chase that ball for Don Bosco. Katarinin trying to go for the turn. Good coverage from Melgira. Throw in favor of Don Bosco.
Warning shot there for Don Bosco. Last thing they want is to concede a goal right before halftime, because they're in a really good position now to take all 3 points. They're in a dominant spot in the driver's seat, fouled there by Crawford, but great half for Don Bosco. It's been a great half because they haven't dominated the full 45, but they've taken advantage of the best chances that they made. In particular, Okereke has taken advantage of the best chances that they made, and he's showing why we picked him as the player to watch, Jamer.
Proving worthy of that player to watch for Don Bosco, and he's already got his brace inside the first half. Meanwhile, Celis has been the guy to watch out for Philippine Army. Sapal is field and trying to find the opening, but unable to do so. Counter-attack once again for Don Bosco in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Pacon thought about the pass, going for the scissors. Soriano with the tackle. It's going to be a goal kick in favor of Philippine Army.
Oh, you know what? This could have been their third Don Bosco. They had great numbers rushing the penalty box. It looked like 4-on-2 or 4-on-3 at one point. Really, a better pass from Bacon, a better decision, could have seen a goal-scoring chance, even for Rocket. But if Army keep affording them that space, then we're going to see a similar story to how they've played in the first part of the season. They cannot let this game fade away from them because they've done so well in their recent games. The last thing you want to see if you're a Philippine Army fan is for them to fold back into that shell, because they've been better than that in the last few weeks.
It's been night and day between the first round and the second round fixtures for Philippine Army. More importantly, the last 2 fixtures for them. They've gotten 2 points in their matches, or in the last 2 matches. And in the first 15 to 20 minutes of this game, they're proving that they could get a win against Don Bosco Garelli if not for that Okereke goal on the 26th, followed by another one 2 minutes before they add on the stoppage time. Things are showing different now for Philippine Army.
Yeah, I think they just missed that presence up front from Ariola. They don't have that goal scorer in that team. So you can see it's made them adjust to a system that they're not really familiar with Gatenao up front. Yeah, you know, Army will feel that they've performed better than the 2-0 scoreline. It's just the fact that they've fallen asleep at crucial points. And Okereke was there to punish them twice.
Philippine Army says it's time to wake up as John Marisapal moves forward for Philippine Army. Palacio with a chance. Shot just wide of the right post, and that's the signal for halftime. Almost ending that and an exclamation mark for Philippine Army. But as it stands, it's 2-0 in favor of Don Bosco. We'll go to a break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we come back, it's going to be highlights, stats, and analysis here in the Philippines Football League match between Philippine Army and Don Bosco Garelli United. Halftime here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. It's been a Solomon Okereke show so far for Don Bosco Garelli United against Philippine Army. Your thoughts so far in the first 45 minutes?
It was quite even actually. When the game started, you could see both teams were up for this match. However, Don Bosco really have identified where they could exploit Philippine Army, and Philippine Army are missing the presence of Ariola. So it's a different story in terms of strikers for both teams. Army without theirs, and Don Bosco really finding theirs in the middle of the season. So it's Okereke with 2 goals. Brilliant work down the right-hand side for both goals. Almost like a copy and paste situation. Back on this time with the first goal. Excellent cutback, and Okereke is not going to miss from there because his confidence is really sky high at the moment. So Army did have some openings though. So this match was quite even at some points.
Well, Philippine Army has been showing really well in the first 45 minutes. Aside from those 2 goals that they've conceded, they had a couple of chances themselves. But so far, they're unable to unlock that defense of Don Bosco Garelli United. Meanwhile, Abarca and Bacon serving those assists for Solomon Okereke. And of course, Okereke providing us that post-goal celebration, dancing with his teammates. It's showing a bit of change in terms of the atmosphere amongst the side of Don Bosco.
Yeah, you know, they've been so low on confidence because of the results that they had, especially in the first round of the PFL. You know, their only win came against Mendiola way before in the earlier parts of the season, because other than that, it's been loss after loss after loss. So finally, for Don Bosco's sake, they can finally have a little bit of a breather now, and they can relieve themselves of that pressure because they're starting to pick up some performances. Picked up 3 points last Saturday, my apologies. And, you know, if they pick up 3 points here, they go up to 9 points, 1 point behind Tuloy, and their next game is against Maharlika, who are showing some frailties as well against teams from the bottom parts of the table. So, you know, if Don Bosco really start to pick up form like they have been showing in the first 45, they can really have a good second and third round to this season.
Well, they're making good use of the possession so far in this game. 53 for Don Bosco, 47 for Philippine Army. But the shot counts is something that is worthy of looking at out here, Diego. You've been asking Don Bosco Garelli to score as much goals as they can, because despite having 6 points in the table, they're the least scoring team in the Philippines Football League. But right now, they're trying to break those shackles from them, and they have 2 goals to show for in this game, and they have 45 minutes to score even more than just 2 goals in this game against Philippine Army.
Yeah, it's a welcome change for Don Bosco. You know, before the signing of Okereke, their top scorer was Johan Embida, who's not even with the team anymore. And he was only on 2 goals. So he was their top scorer for a long part of the season. Finally, they actually have that source of goals, but they're actually also creating chances for him. So it's a team, you know, it's a team stat, really, even though it's Okereke scoring those goals. Great system play, great team play for those goals. And yeah, you know, it's so different to how they were playing earlier on in the season, because you could see they will just fade away from games. They'd allow themselves to fall and allow the other teams to dominate. They're finally taking advantage of the quality that is undoubtedly in their team.
Well, after looking into those stats from the first half, I'm sure our fans are looking for some off-pitch drama. Nabanggit natin kanina yung discussion between the coaching staff of Don Bosco and the substitute, or Ebenezer Ague, who's been substituted 5 minutes before the end of the first half. That was actually Coach Carl Claudio who's been discussing things with Ague. It seems like Coach Carl isn't happy of how Ague is operating in midfield there, because he wants to move forward because they have the advantage. But Ague is taking his dear time with the ball and taking things slow at the back. So yun siguro yung naging dahilan kung bakit nilabas nitong si Coach Carl, itong si Ebenezer. But you could see the intention here from Don Bosco. They want to score more goals in this game. They want to prove that despite having 6 points in the bag, they're not the least goal-scoring team in the Philippines Football League.
Yeah, and it is probably a really tough mountain to climb, but you also want to make your goal difference look better as much as possible going into the next parts of the season. Their goal difference count at the moment doesn't look good, and any chance to make it look slightly better should be taken, because it doesn't look good when you're gonna finish the season with a points or a goal difference tally of minus however many it is. I can't remember at the moment what it is exactly, but what I do remember is that it's something that they would probably want to improve going to the latter parts of the season.
Well, Okereke answered the call for the goals. He's had the brace in the first half. We are into the second half of the match between Philippine Army and Don Bosco Garelli United, folks. My name once again is Jamer de la Cruz alongside Diego here, the commentary panel of your Philippines Football League 2025-26 season. As Philippine Army starts the play from right to left, looking refreshed from that halftime break. They've had a couple of discussions at the break looking for the openings against Don Bosco Garelli, but we have 45 minutes to look out for in terms of the game.
For Don Bosco, I'm sure the message from the coaching staff would have been to keep doing the same because it's worked in that first half, and so far Army haven't found any answer. It's up to Army to change things up. Don Bosco don't need to change anything because their game plan has been successful. Army need to start penetrating the opposite defense more. They need to start getting more numbers around Gatenao because he's pretty isolated at the moment.
You could feel that Don Bosco is squeezing that middle of the field for Philippine Army as a chance on the counter for Don Bosco. Good dribbling skills here from Bedia as he was able to get the ball away from the orange shirts. A chance for a counterattack for the Troopers, starting off with the number 31, Roy Kent Bedia on midfield. Palacio on the left side, unable to get past Bacon, who wins the throw in for Don Bosco.
It's been good this game. Bacon, 1 assist, but he's been up and down that right-hand side.
Crawford now with a through pass. Good movement here, and Solomon Okereke will not get that goal as he's been judged offside. Almost a hat-trick for the number 19 there.
Yeah, he was going to pull out the moves once again, but looks like assistant referee called that offside. I don't think it was a bad call because it did look quite some distance away. We'll see if we can get a replay on that later. But again, good involvement from the right-hand side of Don Bosco. It's their formula, get down the flanks and make that cutback for Okereke, whose positioning has been really good this game because that's now the third separate time he's found himself on the end of a cutback. It's probably something that they rehearsed in training countless times, and for them, it's bearing fruit because it is working really well.
And they believe that they don't have to take the high route for Okereke because he's had good feet on him and he can score goals from either foot. You can score from the left, you can score from the right, and they're not opting for the long balls for Okereke. So they have themselves a throw in. They make use of that and take it back to Traore as they restart the play. Meanwhile, we have the personnel from our second match of the day. One Taguig FC in the building. They'll be facing Stallion Laguna FC later on at 7 p.m. here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. Katarinen with the cross looking for a Barca. Brings it down. Okereke. Good coverage from Palacio to clear that ball away. Only as far as Bacon. Palacio once again with a clearance for Philippine Army.
Oh, well, this time, maybe the cutback to Okereke wasn't the correct option. Abarca could have taken this first time. Again, off a goal as well against Mendiola, so he has that confidence about him right now. But yeah, you can see this time it's from the left. It was from Katarinin. They can penetrate the back line down the sides and down the wings. It's really working out for Don Bosco this afternoon.
Bacon with a throw in. Going far post. Unable to connect. Chance here for Melgaco. But Bedia says no and gets the ball away. Counter-attack time for the Troopers as Bedia rolls that forward for Sapal.
The difficult thing for our Army in the second half and for the whole game really was that they've been defending so deep. So whenever they do want to counter-attack, the distances that they have to jump are so big that you can't help but get tired out and get gassed out. And you can see it's happening again here.
A mistake here from Celis. Frees up Crawford, but sends that to the wrong side of the post. Things are opening up once again for Don Bosco.
Yeah, they smell more goals, Jamer. They smell that the scoring isn't done for their end. I think they're feeling some fragility from Army, who have not started this second half well, really. So many chances already to Don Bosco. Army need to change something to get themselves back into this match because At 2-0, it is a mountain to climb, but it's not an impossible scoreline to recover from. However, if Army are going to play like this, there is only going to be one winner.
Let's see if Philippine Army could shake those 2 goals away. They were able to do it against Maharlika last time around. They were able to get that equalizer, though it's a 1-1 match against Maharlika. Still taking points away from team who's chasing that championship round is something to show for. Meanwhile, Melgaco for Don Bosco, unable to find an opening. Abarca, pass to Bacon. That's a handball called on Bacon. So the UAAP connection won't work that time.
Yeah, but that UAAP connection, really something to build on for Don Bosco. It's worked really well this afternoon. I think what makes it work is that, you know, Bacon, he's a defender by nature, but he's willing to get forward. He's willing to get close to Abarca. And at the same time, Abarca is willing to help out defensively. So they have that sacrificial nature about them. They're willing to make the extra yards to help each other out. And that's why that's a side of the pitch that has worked really well for Don Bosco this match.
Crunching tackle from Brobber there on the number 31, Bedia. A free kick in favor of Philippine Army. Palacio on the left side after that free kick. Brings the ball down, being pressured on by Bacon. Almost giving it back to De Guzman. Chance here for Gatinao with the cross. Nobody there in white. It's been cleared only as far as Celis, who starts the play from the midfield. Playing against 2 orange shirts.
The thing is with Celis, he's so isolated. He's having to deal with 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s in the midfield battle. He's winning some of those duels, to be fair to him, but Army need to get more bodies around him, need to start helping him out, because it is a team game after all, and he is getting outnumbered on many occasions.
De Guzman almost stopping for that play as they thought the ball goes out. Play continues though for Don Bosco. Okereke with a pass for Abarca, but it's been telegraphed by Bedia. Counter-attack for the white shirts. Great tackle from Bacon at the expense of a throw-in.
I'm sure Don Bosco at this point are going to start thinking about getting that clean sheet. It would be such a boost to get 2 clean sheets in a row. 4-0 last Saturday, and any clean sheet would be welcome at this point. So 2 in a row would be a really good confidence booster for your defense. Again, a new goalkeeper as well. Ishii started the last game. Oh!
Looks like that clean sheet is in danger as handball has been called against Don Bosco. This is where Celis scored his goal last time. And they have the chance to reduce the deficit to 1.
Incredible, because it came almost from nothing, and if Army have the deficit, this could really put them with some momentum, would put the game back alive. Celis went to the left, the goalkeeper's right on Saturday. Does Riaso go the same way, or does he change things up? A lot of mind games. It's up to Celis, who's been their best player, really, to drag his team back into a 1-goal deficit.
So Celis shaping up. Riaso waiting for that whistle. Here goes the penalty. Celis scores and reduces that deficit to 1. Finding that bottom right side, sending Riaso the wrong way. And Celis might have just injected a new life into Philippine Army.
Well, the 2 players that fans would have been looking out for in this match because they scored in their last game, Celis and Okereke. It's happened again. Celis 2 penalties in 2 games. Excellent penalty. Sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. And it's a lifeline for Philippine Army. A lifeline to get back into this game. And it's a good opportunity now for them. And for Don Bosco, they have to manage this game well now. Medyo commentators cursing sinabi kong clean sheet because a few moments later, it's 2-1. But as a neutral, I'm all here for it.
Ganun talaga, Diego. Nangyayari yan. But Don Bosco Garelli still with a 2-1 advantage over Philippine Army. but the momentum might have just shifted to the side of the Troopers as they're going for this counter. De Guzman goes past one. Couldn't get it past two, and it's a throw-in in favor of the white shirts. They take it quickly. Gatinao keeps the ball in play. De Guzman looking for the ball forward. Traore is there to cover for Don Bosco. Katarinin starts the counter-attack for the orange shirts. Celis is there to cover and get the ball away. Free kick is called, though, on a foul against Philippine Army.
At least if you're Philippine Army, there's a spring in their step now. You can see there's a little bit more aggression and energy in those legs because all of a sudden this game is back alive. Don Bosco, when they went up 2-0, I'm sure they would have felt this game is now in their control. But amazing how moments can change football matches.
On the free kick, Don Bosco Garelli unable to exploit that pocket of space. Counter-attack chance for the Philippine Army. Good ball forward for Celis. Intercepted by Abarca. Palacio is there to get the ball, and he wins himself a free kick as well.
This game's turning physical. Same way it turned physical against Maharlika for Philippine Army. I think they won't mind, though, if Don Bosco start to get a little emotional and start lunging into challenges because it gives them set pieces and it gives them the chance to reset as well, so this match isn't going at a frantic pace. Again, both of these sides a little bit tired because of their schedule. Here was that challenge from Abarca.
Another tackle, shin to shin between Abarca and Palacio. So it'll be a free kick for Philippine Army. Again, they're just trailing by a goal. Not much of a difference between these two sides now, given that Celis has injected a new life for Philippine Army from the penalty spot. However, an interception here from Broby, and Don Bosco is now on the counter. Good clearance there, Crawford, but Bedia gathering the ball and preventing that two-goal margin from happening.
I think Crawford was so surprised that the ball actually bounced to him that he was unable to control that. However, actually, I think Don Bosco will be frustrated that they couldn't take advantage there. They had a lot of bodies. Good attack was going on. They might have another here.
Good pressure from Okereke. Another clearance from Villaseñor. Chance once again for Catarinin and Don Bosco to add more to their tally. Okereke on the left side. Brings it to the middle for Broby. Puts it down, takes a shot, blocked by Philippine Army. Celis looking for that counter but unable to find a teammate. Malgaco now for Don Bosco. Long ball forward, looking for Crawford with a header in. Saved once again by Bedia.
Oh, there's some hands being exchanged between Crawford and the defenders, but the referee is going to allow play to continue. Army just need to be careful that they don't send too much attacking energy forward, that they leave some open spaces at the back while they're chasing this goal. They have to be careful. They have to pick their moments, and that's a good pass from the goalkeeper.
Good pass forward, Sapal, freeing the right side of the field for Philippine Army. Now they take it back to Roy Kent Bedia. Patience in build-up of play for Philippine Army. Closing in on the hour mark, Villaseñor sends the ball forward for De Guzman. Unable to get the first touch. Bacon is there to cover for Don Bosco. He will start the counter for the orange shirts. What an interception from Celis. Looking for the cross, gets a touch from the number 25, Mahinay, and Riaso gathers the ball for Don Bosco.
This is exactly what Army want. The game's becoming a little bit nervous now. Some anxiety is settling into Don Bosco. And for Don Bosco, you can see their coaching staff just instructing them to calm things down because this is not the way they performed before they conceded the goal. Lost a little bit of that composure, which has helped them in this match.
Robbie sending a through ball forward, but Mark Anthony Bedia clears it away. Mahinay chesting it down for Bacon. Now Crawford all the way back for Don Bosco. Malgaco Moving forward now for the orange shirts. Good pass to the left side for Katarinin, who gets to that ball. Just unable to get the cross, but will he do so now? Cross here. No touch from Bedia. Crawford giving chase. And Crawford winning the ball for Don Bosco. Another chance here for Don Bosco, but it's been thwarted by Palacio.
Game's becoming a stretch now. Both teams having attacks. No clear shots for goal-scoring chances just yet, but you can just sense Don Bosco are sensing that they also now have that extra space to attack. Here's that replay, that mishap from Crawford, and that mishap clearance. Really interesting now to see who gets the next goal.
There's another look at that save from Bedia. Back to live action we go as back on with a cross. Looking for far post for Crawford. Will he get to it? No, he won't. And it's going to be a throw-in for Philippine Army.
It wasn't a good cross, but I'm really liking the energy that Bacon is bringing to this team. He's running up and down constantly, and he still has energy. There's a shot taken from distance there, but that's an easy catch. Anyway, Bacon already has that assist. So he's definitely an exciting player to watch out for, and another good product of the FEU program.
Philippine Army with just a 1-goal deficit in the 61st minute of this game. Trying to move forward against Don Bosco. Palacio to De Guzman. Stringing passes now, Philippine Army. There might be a change in the offing for the Troopers, but they move forward with Gatinao on the left. Mahinay with good coverage, not allowing Gatinao to get that ball and go for that counter.
A great defending from Banjo Mahinay. Mahinay, the captain, he's actually the player from Don Bosco with the most minutes played in the entire team with 990. So the coaching staff really putting so much trust in him as their starting center back and as their captain. And another example there of good defensive work.
There's going to be a substitution here for Philippine Army. Renz Paul Gumban will be checking in for Joshua Gatinao, who's had a decent game here for Philippine Army. But 62 minutes were enough.
It looks like also Roy Kent Bedia is now going to be the striker for Philippine Army. Again, they're having to chop and change that position because there's, again, for those of you who missed it, there's no Ariola because of the red card picked up against Maharlika. Let's see if Roy Kent Bedia can have an impact in a different position.
Interception here for Philippine Army. Celis looking for that through pass for Gumban, but unable to connect. But a foul is called on Brobber. So they'll have themselves a free kick. But in the offing, you'll also see a substitution from Don Bosco. We'll try to shake things up in the hopes of getting another goal here against Philippine Army.
Game is in a vulnerable state now. Army chasing an equalizer and Don Bosco chasing the safety goal. Interesting to see the tactics that are going to change from both coaching staffs.
Celis sends a long ball forward from a free kick. Riaso gathers the ball and gets a foul as well. Free kick in favor of Don Bosco as the floodlights are coming on here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. 3 substitutions for Don Bosco Garelli coming on shortly.
Good goalkeeping also by Riaso there.
Barca dispossessed, who goes down. Play continues for Philippine Army. A chance to level things up here in this game. Just unable to get a touch was Johnny Toledo, and a counterattack is mounting for Don Bosco. Katarinin on the left side, threading the needle towards Okereke, but he was caught by the offside flag.
No surprise that there's going to be a triple change. Again, having played a game on Saturday and then another on Wednesday, with still so many games left in the season, squad rotation is going to become a big factor on the performance of each team in the PFL. So that's why we have a triple change in the 64th minute.
So there are your substitutions. You have Brabe, Crawford, and Okereke checking out. And then you have Desmond Guai coming in, as well as Kai Kimura and Hayato Kame.
Their next game is against Maharlika, so that's going to be a game where you're playing against a better team. But Maharlika's form at the moment will probably give Don Bosco some hope in getting points, and that's probably why they're going to rest some of their key players.
You can hear the applause for Solomon Okereke from his former teammates. I can see Kiki Reichelt starting that applause for Okereke, who used to be with One Taguig, but is showing good for Don Bosco as he's been subbed out. Meanwhile, counter-attack for Don Bosco Garelli with Abarca on the right side, trying to get past Soriano. And Soriano said, "Anong ginagawa mo?" As he left that ball for a goal kick. Abarca still down though. There may have been a strong challenge from Soriano.
I don't think there was any foul in that piece of action. It's going to allow the teams now just to rest for a moment. But I'm interested to see the impact of Kai Kimura and Hayate Kame, as well as Desmond Guai, who scored also against Manila Digger to make it 1-1. So this is a triple change that brings quality. You have two foreign Japanese players, and then you also have Desmond Guai. Let's see also, because they now know that Okereke, Crawford are going to be the starting strike partnership, most likely anyway. Let's see if they can maybe cause a few headaches for the coaching crew of Don Bosco. And that's what you like to see, some healthy competition as well.
Right on that free kick, Don Bosco Garelli trying to win the ball for themselves. The Philippine Army staying intact and winning themselves another free kick.
Conditions starting to change, Shamer. You can feel some cold wind.
Malamig, parang sinabi nung panahon eh, no? Hindi ko pa initin ngayon, binanggit mo kasing mainit. Medyo malamig na ngayon dito sa Rizal Memorial Stadium, and it goes to show we haven't had any cooling breaks in the first half, and we haven't had any cooling breaks as well so far in the second half. So it's giving players more time to play inside the pitch. Pass forward. Still unable to exploit the defense of Philippine Army, unlike what they've done in the first half. Celis almost dropping but keeps it in play. Soriano. Now De Guzman. Three players up front. Oh, miss pass for De Guzman there. The intention was to send the long ball forward for Guzman, but just unable to connect.
Yeah, and after he makes that misplaced pass, he's just stretching his hamstring, so watch out for that.
Desmond Guai on the counter and a shot. Third goal in for Don Bosco Garelli, and the substitute, Desmond Guai, gets into the scoring sheet for Don Bosco Garelli.
Great finish from the substitute. Puts it in to the back of the net. Actually took a deflection off the goalkeeper, but the power behind this low-driven shot was enough to beat the goalkeeper. Great pace as well in behind. That acceleration, impossible to catch for the center-back duo of Philippine Army. And the Bosco will be really happy because it now puts parity between the two teams. Army, you could just see them as well in the last 5 minutes, so they're starting to gas out, starting to feel that fatigue. And Don Bosco, they made that triple change, so it was smart substitutions from the coaches, and they've taken advantage of this game.
And with that goal, Don Bosco Garelli United might have just sent Philippine Army back into that old shell of them. You could see a couple of players with their heads down after that goal, but will that be enough to open the floodgates? We're at 3-1 now. People will say that it's a healthy lead for Don Bosco against Philippine Army, but with the substitutions that came in for Don Bosco and with how Philippine Army is playing over the last 10 minutes, they're looking for more out here. Don Bosco.
Again, they're now a more confident team when you compare them to the way they were playing earlier on in the season. And they now have different sources for goals because they were just relying on Mbida early on in the season to be that lone goal scorer. Now they've had Okereke, Desmond Guai getting a goal as well, or really scored as well against Manila Digger. So you're starting to see players peak at the right point of the season, and it's going to help them later on for whatever aspirations they may have.
Pressure being put on by Philippine Army here as they have the ball themselves. De Guzman missing that touch and rolling on the ground as it goes out for a throw-in. Chance gone begging for Philippine Army there. And Don Bosco with confidence in their boots. 3 goals to show for, 2-goal advantage over Philippine Army. Might just be marching on to their 6th point in just 3 matches. The most probably that they have scored so far in the tournament.
Thing is as well for the result as it stands, Tuloy are going to have to be careful now because their spot on the table is at risk because Don Bosco are beginning to ramp up, switch up a gear. And by the way, if Tuloy, because they're a young team, just get a little bit nervous, then there's a real chance now for Don Bosco to cement themselves into that 8th position, maybe a little bit too far behind Maharlika at this point. But again, a little bit of bragging rights if you leapfrog teams, especially in the bottom part of the PFL. But there's still a lot of games to be played at the same time. So Don Bosco, I'm sure, will have set a points tally target. And this is going to help them reach it, whatever that target is.
Well, they're being realistic with that target. They have 6 points so far. 2 wins over Valenzuela, PB Mendiola, and then an impending win over Philippine Army unless they have some surprise in the bag. 19 minutes remaining here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. Later on at 7 p.m. we'll have One Taguig FC defending their top spot. But before that, Desmond Guai gets his brace and puts this game to bed for 4-1.
Excellent finish from the substitute. And, you know, I was saying Okereke and Crawford are the starting strike partnership. Desmond Guai is now going to give his coaching staff a headache because he is proving that he too can also be a really lethal finisher from a tight angle, from the outside of his right foot, running in behind. Again, Philippine Army's kryptonite is players that are pacey and make those well-timed runs in behind. They suffer another goal from it, but Don Bosco, it's all smiles for them.
Smiles for Don Bosco. Agony for Philippine Army as they're back in their usual selves right now with 4-1 against Don Bosco GARELLI. And I can also see the smile all the way from that bench from their team manager, Prakash Chandiramani for Don Bosco. January transfer window has been decent for Don Bosco GARELLI, and they've had plenty of players coming into their squad. Desmond Guai with 2 goals in this game. Solomon Okereke as well with 2 goals himself. So it's going to be a headache for the coaching staff of Don Bosco to figure out who's going to be in partnership with Okereke moving forward.
And just speaking on their transfer signings, Abarca with an assist also today, back on as well. So whatever they did in that transfer window, it was productive. And by the way, it's going to get from bad to worse for Philippine Army because their goal scorer, Celis, not for the first time, has received treatment this afternoon.
Chance here for Don Bosco GARELLI to bring in a couple more subs if they want to and give playing time to their players as well. Abarca with the ball for Don Bosco, sending a ball forward once again for Desmond Guai. But it's now with Kimura, cleared away. Philippine Army looking for just another goal to at least give themselves some consolation here. They already have one through the penalty. Looking for one in the open play. Abarca with the cross, looking for Kimura. Good defense shown by Belgira. They win themselves the ball again. Sims sending that forward for Hayato Kame. That goes back to Sims. Just about 15 minutes remaining in this game. Later on at 7 p.m., One Taguig FC, as mentioned, will defend the top spot against Stallion Laguna. That's going to be an interesting battle as well. Meanwhile, back on the right side, looking for the cross. Nobody there in the middle, but Kame gets the ball for Don Bosco. Desmond Guai with a shot goes out for a goal kick.
Well, Bacon, how does he still have energy? Because he's been making those long busting runs from right back. By the way, he also played on Saturday at left back, doing the same thing. Looks to have a great engine on him, great acceleration, and a proper player Don Bosco have.
Another shot on goal for Desmond Guai. Goes straight to Mark Anthony Bedia. If you want to know why Bacon still has energy, you might want to ask Coach Paulo Bugas. Nahawaan niyo tong batang to. And it's showing the quality of Bacon so far. Good through ball, but offside for Kimura. Chance for substitution for Don Bosco. As the number 34, Jerome Abarca, is going to be checked out for the number 12, Gino Clarino.
Good performance from Abarca. No goal this time, but has that assist, and in general has been part of the good stuff that Don Bosco have done this afternoon. He's going to be given a rest. Again, next game against Maharlika, you want your starters to be fully rested, or at the very least, not fatigued for that match.
Well, by the looks of it, Diego, it seems like the possible starting 11 against Maharlika, you can see some of the pieces now coming in. You have Clarino in the squad. You do have Hayato Kame, and then also the goal scorer, or the brace scorer, if we may say, Desmond Guai, is a second half substitute. So this might just be a preview of that game against Maharlika. Meanwhile, Bacon with a great through ball, but too strong for Kimura to chase.
The thing is as well with Bacon, he's brave enough to try those risky passes that are difficult to pull off. It's all well and good if you're going to do the basic stuff right, but can you also switch it up and add a little bit of creativity from right back, which is a defender's position, but it's a position that asks for some attacking output as well.
Palacio with the ball for Philippine Army. Couldn't get the back heel for Sapal. So they'll have themselves another throw-in. One thing to note as well for Don Bosco, love how they're doing this reverse load management that we can see. You have Desmond Guai coming in the second half, Hayato Kami as well, then Gino Clarino, who just cleared the ball out for his first touches. Throw in favor of Philippine Army.
By the way, they've had to play this last 4 or 5 minutes or so with 10 men because they've taken quite a while to make this substitution. They're going to make it eventually, but it just made their players run an extra yard or so last few minutes. And I think you can also see the fatigue that is settling into Army's team. Again, their game against Maharlika, on paper, of course, it's 90 minutes, but stoppage time was actually 9 minutes in the second half, and then stoppage time in the first half was 7 minutes, so they're a really tired team at the moment.
Good shout from Reaso to gather the ball from the free kick. Counter-attack time for Dono Garelli to score their 5th goal. Good coverage from the defense. Scramble in midfield. Desmond Guai takes it away. Will he get his hat-trick? Takes it back to Clarino, but sends it out for a goal kick.
Could have had the shot himself for that hat-trick, but you can see there's that team nature, that team spirit, because they're creating chances for each other as well, not being super selfish. They can play with that extra bit more freedom as well. So they've done well to put themselves in this position.
So the substitution that we're waiting for, Celis, earlier on, has been brought in now by Philippine Army. You have Jomar Acedo coming in, as well as Boogie Margarce for Philippine Army. Meanwhile, a chance for DB Garelli to get their fifth. Bedia says no. Can they find the magic from Boogie Margarce in this substitution? Moving forward now is Philippine Army. Couldn't find the pass for Acedo. And again, Army just unable to connect their pass as well, allowing Don Bosco Garelli to control the ball. They have 10 minutes left to play plus some stoppage time. Katarinin on the left side. Looking for the short cross, but it's been taken away by Sapal. Alasha now for Philippine Army. Looking for that one. Another counterattack by Bacon. For Don Bosco. Oh, sending it to the other side for Katarinin. Katarinin looking for the shot. Good block by Belgira. Kame against Villaseñor. Player goes down, but play continues. Long ball forward. Bedia gathers for Philippine Army.
Yeah, you can just see Philippine Army starting to get a little bit stretched. I really feel that empty tank. You can see whenever they have attacks, they're having to do it 2v5, 2v6, because the rest of the team are unable really to make that extra burst of pace up the pitch, because they're so tired at the moment.
Play goes out once again for a Don Bosco Garelli United goal kick. 4-1 so far for Don Bosco. Things have worked out well for their side. Couple of goals from Okereke and Desmond Guai. And looks like they still have more time for another one.
Yeah, and that's now 2 games in a row that Don Bosco have scored 4 goals. So it's a real improvement on the way that they were scoring before last weekend, where they scored 4 against Mendiola.
Bacon on the right side gets the cross. Desmond Guai gets his hat-trick. What a lovely assist from McKevitt Bacon there.
Yeah, non-stop energy from McKevitt Bacon, and he gets another reward. His second assist this afternoon. This time it's to Desmond Guai, who gets his hat-trick off the bench. Really rare that you get even a goal off the bench, but you get a hat-trick. Perfect afternoon for Don Bosco, and it's going to be a headache now, really, for the coaching staff of Don Bosco, because you have Okereke on high form, you have Desmond Guai on high form, you have Crawford who's connecting with Okereke, but at the end of the day, this is a really good problem to have for Don Bosco. It's a problem that they wish they would have had earlier on in the season, but they're finally starting to find their feet.
Give credit where it's due. McKevitt Bacon didn't give up on that play, even though he missed the first touch a bit, but he was able to get that cross in. Another chance though, almost for Don Bosco. They still have the ball. A shot hits the post. Another one here for Melgaco and Don Bosco. De Guzman says no. Desmond Guai gets the ball, leaves it for Melgaco. Just a tad wide of the left post.
Yeah, I think it was a save from Mark Anthony Bedia. But Don Bosco really improving their goal difference at the same time. Finally finding their shooting boots that they couldn't find earlier on in the season. By the way, Bacon, I just can't stop talking about him, because you look at the way he's down that right-hand side. You wouldn't know that he's naturally a defender, that his starting position is actually the right back.
Here's the corner. Unable to connect was the number 37, Kimura. Feeling ko naramdaman ng Don Bosco na ikaw yung magko-commentary sa game na to. You challenged them last time. You want them to score more goals. You said that they're the least scoring team in the Philippines Football League. And look at the game now. 5-1 in favor of Don Bosco. And we still have 5 minutes left to play plus stoppage time.
Yeah, you know, they've put that stat and completely ripped it up. But I am happy for them. Finally, they're showing that, you know, this is a level that they actually do belong at. Again, a lot of questions from fans on whether or not they deserve to be in the PFL, but last 2 games they've showed they do definitely belong in this division.
9 goals in 2 matches for Don Bosco Garelli, and they're looking for that 10th goal in 2 matches. Bacon once again with the ball, finds Melgaco, looking to switch the play to the left side for Katarinin. Katarinin thought about it. Still with Katarinin. Looking for the short cross. Intercepted. Desmond Guai trying to win the ball. And Soriano looking to clear the ball now is Philippine Army. Sims gets the ball for Don Bosco. Melgaco. And they have this opportunity to play it from the back with their team captain, Banjo Mahinay.
Thing is with Banjo Mahinay and the other defenders of Don Bosco, they've played really well, and it was just a stray handball that is the reason they conceded a goal. By the way, what a touch there from Bacon, who's from right back inverting into a midfield position. So you can see he can do it all from that position. Also flexible enough to play down the left.
Bacon has been the silent operator from right back for Don Bosco Garelli. Had 2 assists already in this game. And despite the strong challenge from Jal Soriano, takbo lang. Parang wala lang nangyari. Now for Don Bosco, looking for that 6th goal of the match. To challenge Badia. 4 minutes left to play. Diego, are you expecting one more from Don Bosco?
Well, they're definitely creating chances non-stop. Army just unable to keep up now with the pace that Don Bosco are setting. They will probably generate one more big opportunity, and, you know, to be completely honest, I would not be surprised if they take it.
Here's the opportunity on the right flank from Kimura, but that has been blocked by De Guzman. Corner though, or Don Bosco get the second half.
You know, they just played 100 or so minutes, unable to beat Army, and they will have seen that Don Bosco are putting Army away 5-1. So watch out for that match on the coming weekend, because it might not be as straightforward as it looks on paper.
Melgaco with the corner. Headed in. Clearance from Kent Bedia. Scramble. Half Philippine Army, and they win themselves a free kick. To Philippine Army, and they win themselves a free kick at a dangerous spot as well to get their 6th goal of the match.
Time now since Philippine Army have touched the ball in the other half. They can't get out at the moment, just penned in by the pressure from Don Bosco. And credit to Don Bosco, they're 5-1 up, and there's only a few minutes left, but you can see the will that they're putting into their attacking play.
So the game put to bed, 5 goals to 1. Look at what we have here. Desmond Guai shaping up to take this free kick for Don Bosco. Goes under, blocked by the defense. Melgaco gets the ball again for Don Bosco. They have to reach less than 90 seconds in regular time here. Reaso. It's been a long time since he had a touch of the ball. Flag is up for Kimura. Clock winding down for this game. 7 p.m. we have One Taguig going up against Stallion Laguna FC in another exciting clash amongst the top 6, or Stallion, we can say, hoping to climb up to the top 6. Bacon will take some time, and of course, was a deserved water break for him before he takes this throw in. Kami unable to get a touch. Cleared out by Philippine Army. Palacio with a good ball to the left side for the number 31 Bedia. It's been dispossessed once again by Mahinay. So we'll have 3 minutes of stoppage time here. 3 more minutes to add to their tally as Desmond Guai going up. Oh, and tapping it past Bedia. That's a double brace from the substitute Desmond Guai. And it's 6-1 in favor of the...
Well, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but runs in behind, that's really what are able to undo Philippine Army. But look at this first touch from Desmond Guai. Is so intelligent to take it around the goalkeeper, and once he's around the goalkeeper, he's not gonna miss an open goal. Confidence sky high for the substitute. Who would have thought that when he came on, he would have got 4 goals to his name? What a tally he has racked up, and 6-1, really a flattering scoreline, but Don Bosco will take it all day. And you know, this is something that they've been craving for so many times this season, and finally they are up and running this season.
In just 2 games, Diego, Don Bosco Garelli on goal scorers for their side. In Solomon Okereke, who scored 4 goals in 2 matches, and Desmond Guai with 4 goals in this game. I think Desmond has 5 now, if we're not mistaken. So Philippine Army still with about a minute and a half to get just 1 more goal for their confidence. But another great tackle from Mahinay to prevent a goal-scoring opportunity for Philippine Army.
And that's probably going to be the end of it. But Don Bosco, such a confidence-boosting performance. And finally, they have more than 1 real source of goals. And they might get even more goals here.
Looking for that goal at the end of the game. And yes, it is! What a lovely shot from Melgaco. That's 7-1. But celebrations cut short as there might have been a commotion inside the box.
I think that was Mark Anthony Bedia just letting his frustrations get the better of him, but take nothing away from the goal. Brilliant team goal from back to front from a goal kick. It came all the way from a goal kick, and Kai Kimura, excellent cutback. This is a very good finish to make it 7-1. Cherry on top. And you can see this is a team with quality players, with talented players. They just needed that confidence boost to bring it out of them. But now that it's showing, everyone can see that this is actually a serious game. Serious for most parts of the season, but they are serious now.
Go for Don Bosco Garelli United.
And that's it, folks. Don Bosco Garelli winning 7-1 over Philippine Army. Goals coming in from Solomon Okereke in the 26th and the 43rd minute. Then Desmond Guai unleashing hell in front of Philippine Army with 4 goals in the 68th, 72nd, 82nd, and the 91st minute. Then, to put an exclamation point to that game, Melgaco scoring that goal at the death, bringing Philippine Army FC back to the drawing board. Diego, your thoughts on the match?
Excellent performance all around. Defensively, really in that flow state of theirs. No surprise, given the talent that's in the team, that they finally show it and put it on display. And the goals just didn't stop coming. Really, such a promising performance. They have something to platform themselves off on now. they can build off this performance for the rest of the season.
Don Bosco Garelli, heed to your call, Diego, of scoring here in the Philippines Football League, and they've done pretty well against Philippine Army, winning 7 goals to 1 in their Philippines Football League second round fixture. From everybody here, the broadcast panel, we would like to thank you for watching this game and hope you tune in for our next match between One Taguig FC and Stallion Laguna FC. But for now, it's Philippine Army FC 1, Don Bosco Garelli United 7. We are PFL.
Congratulations. What are your thoughts on the game?
It's Army is a tough opponent to face, and we've been preparing so hard for this, and we're so happy for the win. It's a great motivation for us.
Yeah, that's to move forward given the result.
Keep working hard. That's it. Yeah. So.
Okay. What went well and what do you think went right with the game?
All of the shots, so it actually helped us. Yeah.
What are your message to the fans?
To keep supporting. It's been tough on our side, but the fans, they've always been there, and we keep ask them to keep supporting us and believing in us. Yeah.
Okay. Congrats and thank you so much.
Thank you.